Finally!
What's up guys, Skip You Africanus here, and in today's video we're going to be going over the M13B from Modern Warfare 2, or as it's known in real life, the SIG MCX. So this weapon dropped a good minute ago with the first Battle Pass season, and I had actually wanted to do a video as soon as I had gotten it. I think it only took me like a week or something like that to get it. You know, obviously did the extract and DMZ type of thing. I ain't trying to kill that chemist for this crap, but anyways, you know, I got this gun pretty fast, got it gold and all that, but then I went to go, you know, do the video, and, you know, I had mentioned in the last video that there was a gun that I was getting really bored with doing, so I was really slacking on it, and that was this gun because, well, I mean, you know, it looks cool, but, like, let's be honest, you know, it's kind of, it's not technically an AR, but, you know, it's just an AR, like, now if Modern Warfare 2 had added, you know, something actually cool, like the SIG Spear, which they really should, and then I would have definitely had that video out. I would have had this thing gold first day. But anyways, with all that out of the way, let's talk about this gun finally. So, as I had mentioned, it really, you know, it's kind of just another AR, and you definitely see that with the controls and all that. You know, you got your standard AR controls, you got a standard AR bolt release, all that stuff. However, there is some differences that does distinguish this gun specifically from the AR, and well, it's the reason it's not technically an AR, of course. So first off, let's look at, well, something that's a little bit obvious when you look at, you know, just the gun in general, and that is the use of a folding stock. So obviously this gun lacks a buffer tube, and you know, buffer tube is one of the key components with the AR, and the way they get around with not having to use one of those is by where they've put their whole recoil spring assembly. So on your typical AR, that is of course located in the buffer tube, right behind the bolt. But on the SIG MCX, instead, they have the spring assembly riding on top of the bolt, which of course, by doing this, you eliminate the need to even have a buffer tube in the first place, and this is why the gun is able to have a folding stock, and it's also why standard AR-15s are not able to have a folding stock. So, by doing this, they've made the gun a little bit more compact. The dimensions of the receiver, of course, are all different from your standard AR, and it is to accommodate this. Now, this next piece I'm going to bring up, I'm still going to say it kind of separates it from an AR, because the majority of ARs don't use this, though keep in mind that there are ARs that can use this system and do use this system, and that is the SIG MCX operates from a short stroke gas piston as opposed to the impingement system on your classic ARs. Which, if you don't know, the whole deal with that thing is, on your classic ARs, you have this gas tube that runs the length of the barrel, and, you know, gas from the cartridge, you know, just gets pushed through there, then operates the bolt, all that stuff. Whereas on a short stroke gas piston, this is like something like an SKS, where there's a little rod in the back, and that rod is what actually pushes the bolt carrier, which unlocks the bolt and all that stuff. The gas, of course, hitting that little piston. Supposedly they had done this for better reliability, and I mean, I've seen the standard system run just fine in some pretty adverse conditions. To be honest, I'm not really an expert on whether or not the short stroke is more reliable. I could see it being more reliable, but at the same time, I mean, I've rarely seen the other one fail. I did hear on short barrels, though, supposedly the gas impingement system can be a little problematic. But, yeah, as I had mentioned, though, there are ARs that do use this system. They're not near as common as the ones that use the impingement system, but on the SIG MCX, I will say that does distinguish it from an AR because 100% of them use the short stroke gas piston system. So, yeah, as I had mentioned, there really isn't too much differences between this and an AR. There is obviously, you know, some parts differences and all that stuff. But for the most part, it is a very AR-like gun. Much like the AR, the SIG MCX comes in a variety of variants and also different calibers. You don't just have to run 5.56. Of course, they have them in 300 Blackout, which is a lot better for the shorter barreled variants. Though I will say, if I had to pick owning one of the variants, I would say the SIG Rattler in 5.56 specifically would be pretty freaking cool.
But Skip, the SIG Rattler is a 5.5-inch barrel, and that's not good for 5.56.
So, moving on from variants, let's talk about who actually uses this gun. Is this like pretty much every other gun that I've done from this game where really only the civilian populace actually uses it? No, actually for once in a good minute, this gun is actually being adopted by quite a few militaries slash police forces. And to name one variant specifically, if you remember a couple videos ago when we went over the Chimera, aka the Honey Badger, I had mentioned that it was beaten by a SIG rifle for the military adoption. And that SIG rifle was, of course, a variant of the MCX. And then, of course, we cannot forget the SIG Spear. Now, this is, of course, way different than the 5.56. Mechanically, very similar. It does have a few little neat tricks going on with it, but that is pretty much a descendant of the MCX line. And aside from being a descendant of the MCX line, it's also a gun that they should really add to this game because I cannot stress enough how cool the SIG Spear is. And then, of course, on top of those, you got all the other different variants, and, you know, pretty much, for the most part, all in use. So I think that is going to do it for this short little video on the M13B from Modern Warfare 2, or, as it's known in real life, the SIG MCX. I hope y'all enjoyed the video as much as I personally enjoyed making it, and I will see y'all next time.